Did you know that I like Sonic the Hedgehog? My favorite Sonic game since I was like 11 has been Sonic Generations. It may be a very nostalgia-focused game that is just focused around redoing previous levels, but it's just so good! It honestly has very few flaws to me. Since I played Generations as a kid, my dream was always that they do another one, since that format works so well for Sonic. On a somewhat unrelated note, wouldn't it be cool if we got a game starring Shadow the Hedgehog again? He had a game, but it was Shadow the Hedgehog. Wouldn't it be even cooler if they combine these two ideas and make a Sonic X Shadow Generations? When this game was announced, I was pretty excited. In addition to a new version of one of my favorite games ever, we also, for once, were seeing a Sonic game that just looked good. There was no obvious major flaws to point out. It looked like we just finally got another high-quality, fleshed-out Boost game for the first time in over 13 years. Oh, God. Then more info came out. It still looked great, but Sonic fans do what Sonic fans do, and nitpick the heck out of things. This song is mid, this looks like cyberspace controls, etc., etc. I'm gonna be honest, that got to me a little. There was no way they actually nailed every aspect of a new 3D Sonic game, right? The game couldn't just be perfect, right? Yeah, no, it's perfect. Before I go on and gush about the Shadow part, I guess I'll talk for a minute about the Sonic section of the game. It's really cool that Sonic Generations is on more platforms. It was already available on PC and Xbox, but now it's finally playable on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. This was one of my dream Switch ports way back in 2017, and it's still surreal to play this game on the Switch. It runs good too. Other than that, it's like, okay. Aside from some sort of tacked on changes, it really is just the original game. There's a meaningless Chow collection feature that only really gets you an achievement, and an awkward drop dash for both Sonics. That's about it. There really is no visual update either, which is a little disappointing, I'm gonna be honest. But oh well, it's Sonic Generations, and Sonic Generations is great. I'm glad more people get to experience this game. Now let's talk about Shadow. This game is just really, really, really good. That's it. There's no catch. It's a 3D Sonic Shadow game with no catch at all, really. It's incredible. The first thing I should talk about is the actual stages. There is not really a single bad or even middling level in this game. They're all just really, really good. I'm trying to rack my brain for a single thing I can complain about, and I just can't. The first stage in Sonic X Shadow Generations is Space Colony Arc, which despite the name being closer to the Shadow 05 level, is based on Final Rush from SA2. It is such a great introduction to this game. It looks super beautiful, probably the best looking rendition of this area they've ever made. It also puts such a huge emphasis on introducing the Chaos Control mechanic, which is just so damn cool. Being able to use a time stop ability in an actual gameplay context like this is something that fits Shadow so well and immediately makes the game more unique than if you were just boosting forward. Speaking of running forward, this game just feels really good. Like, I feel like in every 3D Sonic, there's always a but. Sonic Frontiers was easy to control, but there's just the general awkwardness that permeated every single thing about how it felt to play. I was worried this game would have the same problem, but it just doesn't. I would argue it's the best controlling 3D Sonic ever? Unlike Frontiers, there is real weight to everything you do in this game. But like Frontiers, you actually feel in control of what you're doing, to the point where it actually contrasts with Generations feeling a bit too weighty and delayed in comparison. Anyways, Space Colony Arc. It's good. Even though the Act 2 of this stage, and indeed every stage, is a 2D level, it doesn't feel like a downgrade from the 3D ones. They're all completely fleshed out, and didn't feel like filler at all, which is also new for 2D and 3D Sonic games. It also introduces the first Doom Power, which I won't get into too much for sake of brevity, but they're all really fun and inventive and flow super well with the traditional boost gameplay. It's really cool to have a more extensive list of moves that actually factor into movement, unlike a certain game's skill tree. The game continues to be really good after the arc. I have no attachment to the game Rail Canyon is based on, but it's great. Not as much to say about it, it's just a really solid level. This continues into Kingdom Valley, a stage I do have some attachment to, and it's also super excellent. There really isn't anything to complain about in this game. Speaking of not complaining, look at the new white space. This hub world takes the concept of the playable hub from Generations and expands upon it with the design ideas from Sonic Frontiers. And it just works so well! I feel like it's a lot more cohesive and polished than Frontiers Open Zones, even if it's a lot smaller than any of them. I can only hope this is a glimpse into the future of Sonic games. Anyways, where were we? Oh yeah! After Kingdom Valley, we get to... Oh my god. It's peak. It's so cool. I can't. But 7 seconds in, I'm like, I'm a Sonic Forces defender. I think it is, at the very least, not that bad. And I feel like my wishes have finally been fulfilled in the form of this one stage. My favorite level theme from Forces is fully realized in a way I never thought could ever happen. It's just so good. First of all, it's freaking gorgeous. I will maintain that Forces always looked pretty nice, but it didn't look this good. Not only does it look great, but it actually takes advantage of its concepts in a way Forces never did. The Death Egg robots are actually used here to really great effect, directly attacking you, using lasers to destroy platforms in a quick mid-level cutscene that just goes hard. In the original game, they were just in the background. And at the midway point in the stage, oh yeah, I should probably talk about this. Black Doom really likes Radical Highway, apparently. In the Arc, Rail Canyon, and Sunset Heights, the end of Act 1 turns into a warped version of Radical Highway. And the final stage in the game is Radical Highway. It makes sense since the place Shadow was first playable, but I'm gonna be honest, it's a bit funny. Back to Sunset Heights for a second, because oh my god, Act 2, the rain effect, the underground sections, why is it so good? I can't get over how good it is. Oh my god. Well, they don't affect my enjoyment of the game at all, really. I do have a few nitpicks about the stage selection. First off, there's no stage based on the game called Shadow the Hedgehog. That felt really weird to me. Instead, one of the levels was dedicated to Chaos Island from Frontiers of all things. I guess it was to save resources since they already had a lot of stuff they could use from it? Still, it's strange. Also, the Forces level didn't use Infinite at all. Bring back my boy, please. Anyways, the music is also really good too. There's a couple of remixes I wasn't really rocking with, but the rest are either on par or even better than the original songs they're based on. The music for both acts of Sunset Heights, as you probably expected, just blew me away. I love the Forces soundtrack so much, you have no idea. Other things I really loved were Act 1 for the Arc and just every single Radical Highway song. There's 3 of them. I guess I can nitpick again though. The Arc music isn't based on Shadows from Sonic Adventure 2, but Sonic's? That was weird. That and supporting me for the BioLizard boss doesn't have any vocals, even though they were in a trailer for the same song. Oh wait, yeah, this game has bosses. There's only 4 of them, but to be fair, that is the same amount in the original Generations. I love these boss fights because they feel like they have traditional platformer boss gameplay with a lot of the same flair that was all over Sonic Frontiers. There's 2 bosses that really tie to Shadow's story in an interesting way. Shadow comments on putting the BioLizard out of its misery, and Mephiles being aware he only exists because of the time anomaly and wanting to replace Shadow in order to exist again. It's just really neat. Also, Metal Overlord is here, I guess. It's cool, I just don't feel like he has any real attachment to Shadow. Oh yeah, this game has a story. My main impression of it is it's not really there. There are certainly cutscenes and some pretty interesting storytelling stuff like I mentioned previously, but the game honestly feels more focused at getting you into gameplay as fast as possible. There might be less cutscenes than regular Generations, I'm not really sure. The handful of interactions we get to see between Shadow, Geralt, and Maria are interesting, and Black Doom works as a villain much better in this game than Shadow 05. There's nothing wrong with the story overall, but it's definitely a bit subtle. The finale is cool though. I won't talk about it much, but just like everything in this game, it's really neat. The reason I'm not going to talk about the finale is, just to sum this all up, you really should play this game. If you're a Sonic fan, you need to pick up this game. If you have mild interest in Sonic, you should get this game. If you're planning on seeing the movie in a month, you should play this game. Shadow Generations is the first time I feel they truly nailed 3D Sonic in a way that's just hard to complain about in any fashion. And at the very least, the first time since the game this one was bundled with. But I think the most important takeaway I've gotten from this game is hope. I have never felt this optimistic about Sonic the Hedgehog in my life. Frontiers was good, but over time I have found just as many things to complain about as I have to appreciate about it. Superstars, Sonic Superstars was a game, but overall the trajectory has been upward, not downward. And with this game, I think there's no reason right now to assume that the next one isn't going to be great. They just have to build off this game and what worked about Frontiers, and I think we have another amazing game in our hands. We really are so back. Thank you for watching my really stupid, dumb video. I love this game, but did you? You probably did. I have yet to find a person who is anything but positive towards this game. And if you're that person, you should comment, because I want engagement. Also subscribe, please. I'm desperate. Shadow the Hedgehog is so cool.